This time I am taking a look at a game that I feel more people need to be aware of. Steambot Chronicles is an incredibly charming blend of action-adventure, mech combat, rhythm game and dating sim, with even more mini-games and side quests crammed in besides these. Early on in the game, your main character, Vanilla Bean, will find a rather dilapidated Trotmobile, which is the proper name for the Steambot of the title. Shortly after that, you will be taught the basic controls, which are fairly similar to those of Katamari Damacy. Pushing both analog sticks forward at the same time will make you walk forward, pushing both backwards and you will reverse, and pushing one stick forward and one back will turn you around. When you're at close quarters with an enemy or near a boulder, clicking either stick will pick up the object, whereupon a second click will throw it. Upon arriving in the first major town in the game, you will go to the garage where you can replace any of the parts of your Trotmobile with others. For example, you can swap out the human-style legs for those that resemble bird legs, or go with wheels. Other options include equipping cannons or swords on your arms, putting a flatbed on your back so that you can transport fossils back to town and make a bit of extra cash at the museum, or installing windshields that are vital should you wish to cross the desert, and you will if you follow along with the main story. Interspersed with the sections where you're either travelling from one place to another in the Trotmobile, or taking part in combat, are on-foot sections. There are many opportunities to get into conversations with NPCs, and you will often have multiple choices in your responses. Depending on what you pick, your reputation will change and people will give you different nicknames. For example, I'm currently known as the Polite Chef, as I'm generally nice to everyone I meet and have dabbled in a bit of cooking recently. The rhythm game aspects come into play because again, very early on in the story you meet a girl named Coriander. Everyone is named after a herbal spice in this game, and it turns out she is a member of a world-famous band called the Globetrotters, who are currently on tour. To start with, you will just be able to spectate some of their performances, but because Vanilla plays the harmonica, he can then busk at save points to earn extra money, and eventually he will become part of the band as well. Your interactions with Connie are also where the dating sim aspects come in. Depending on how you treat her, she will become more fond of you, and there are plenty of opportunities to give her gifts as well. Overall, the game looks quite good, but certainly not the most amazing thing available on the PS2. When the action heats up, there can be some quite nasty slowdown at times. Also, considering that music plays quite an important part of the plot, it's a shame that it isn't considerably better. The tunes that play throughout the game are nothing remarkable, and sound like low-quality MIDI files in fact. The songs that the band play are decent enough, but the English lyrics will make you cringe. Apart from that though, the actual voice acting in the game is surprisingly good. Though the controls of the Trotmobile can be a little clunky, this makes sense as you are trying to pilot a huge lumbering piece of metal after all. Combat is generally not that tough except at certain key points in the story. Experimenting with different loadouts and equipping different parts does help in this regard. For instance, if you're focusing on arena battles, then you should probably take that wide flatbed part off as you don't need it and it's making your Trotmobile heavier. Should you wish to get a copy of Steambot Chronicles for yourself, you'll have to pay out a little bit more than most of the games that I've featured on PS2 Tuesdays in the past. The game sells for between £15 and £25 used, and I do feel that it is worth paying somewhere in that range for what is quite a unique and fun game. No single aspect of the game is all that polished, but it's because it takes so many different types of gameplay and mixes them all up that it works. There was a sequel made for the PSP, which I haven't had the chance to play unfortunately. I think it has more of a focus on combat though. Anyway, while replaying the start of the game to get the footage for this video, I became hooked, and so I think I'm going to play on some more. See you next week for another episode.